Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter, and I have been your beat reporter covering the Jacksonville Jaguars for On SI every single day since August 2019, and we are continuing to move forward through yet another season together. As always, you can find our 100% free, 24/7 boots on the ground content covering the Jacksonville Jaguars when you follow us on social media such as Facebook and Twitter at Jaguars on SI. You can also find us at www.si.com/NFL/Jaguars. Alright folks, welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. Today we are talking a little bit about the Jaguars and their big Week 11 matchup versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Folks, this is a tough one for the Jaguars. They're again drawing a tough opponent. They've faced a lot of quality teams this year, and the Chargers are yet another one of them. The Chargers have really, been top to bottom, a well-ran team since Jim Harbaugh got there. That hasn't changed at all this season. They've obviously faced a rash of injuries, very similar to the Jaguars. Both their starting offensive tackles, probably one of the best, if not the best, offensive tackle duo in the NFL, are out for the season. They've had to deal with a lot of different things. And it feels like the difference between the Chargers since Jim Harbaugh got there and most other teams that deal with their circumstances and plan out bad injury luck is the Chargers still figure it out. The Chargers still find a way to win. I mean, Justin Herbert is still increasingly productive and efficient as a Chargers starting quarterback. No matter who they have blocking for him, no matter who they have catching passes for him. I mean, Justin Herbert has just elevated his game so much since Harbaugh got there that there are no longer questions of, where is Herbert in the range of quarterbacks. He's one of the 6 to 7 best quarterbacks in the entire NFL, no questions asked. And I think if you're the Jaguars, the Chargers under Harbaugh is a little what you're kind of aspiring to be. A team that, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the injury list, they play physical, sound football throughout the game, and more oftentimes than not, they come out on the other side of things because they don't be themselves. So I think for how the Jaguars match up with the Chargers, I think obviously Justin Herbert, again, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. For my money, second best quarterback on the Jaguars' entire schedule after Patrick Mahomes, including Joe Burrow in that. I just think Justin Herbert's an absolutely elite player, and he's going to pose a lot of issues for the Jaguars. I mean, the Jaguars have had issues with mobile quarterbacks all year. Davis Mills has one of the lowest scramble rates of any quarterback with his number of snaps over the last several years. And he made a 14-yard scramble touchdown against the Jaguars look easy. Partly because of the scheme they play, partly because they just don't really have a lot of speed on defense. They don't have an overly fast linebacker unit. I wouldn't say their safeties are very fast. With Travis Hunter out, I wouldn't say their corners are very fast. I mean, they're just not a very fast defense. So scrambling quarterbacks all year long have had success against the Jaguars, including Davis Mills last week, and he's not even a scrambling quarterback. Justin Herbert is, for my money, one of the best, multifaceted quarterbacks in the NFL. You're thinking of guys who can move and play out of structure and beat you with their legs. I'm obviously thinking of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen first and foremost. Thinking about Justin Herbert, not very far beyond that. I just think that's the level of creator he is. He's obviously had a lot of production with his legs. So that's the big thing I think the Jaguars have to attempt to stop. I mean, he's going to get some passes off. He's going to hit some incredibly tight windows. He's going to hit some downfield shots that you're surprised he's even attempting. Because that's what Justin Herbert does. That's his game. It's going to happen on Sunday. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when and how often. Now, what they can't let happen is for Herbert to do not just beating the Jaguars in that fashion with the big plays, the tight window throws, the explosive passes downfield, but they need to ensure that Herbert is not also hurting them on the ground, where they've been so suspectable this year. Chargers, obviously, Ladd McConkey is a good talent. The tight end's very talented. Keenan Allen's having a productive year, but this isn't exactly an offense that's blooming with speedy, explosive playmakers. It's an offense that is going to grind it out, and if you let Herbert scramble, then those grinded out drives just become longer and longer and tougher and tougher. So I think ultimately, the Jaguars, that's the biggest thing their defense has to focus on. I don't think the Jaguars have a great matchup with the Chargers offense. I mean, the Jaguars are, I guess, getting a little bit of a break in the sense that, the numbers for early down passing against the Jaguars are through the roof this year, and especially in recent weeks. I would assume the Chargers are more of an early down, will be more of an early down rushing team. So that's at least where the Jaguars have been hurt so far. So maybe the Jaguars catch a bit of a break there, but Herbert is just such a tough draw for them that it's hard for me with the way they played against Davis Mills, with the way we've seen them play, and the way they played against Geno Smith, who's having one of the worst seasons of his career. It's just tough to envision them having much success defensively. Now, offensively, the Chargers, they have some good pieces throughout the unit. Obviously, Derwin James is still the straw that kind of stirs the drink there. The question for the Jaguars is, who are they going to have? Is Brian Thomas Jr. going to play? I think that's a still up in the air question. Same with Parker Washington. There's a chance that Jacoby Myers is their number one target on Sunday. And he's been in Jacksonville for 8 to 9 days now. So I think with the way the injuries are shaping up, the Jaguars could be in a position where they're pretty thin at wide receiver. We'll see if Thomas plays. That's obviously a boost. Same with if Washington plays. If both played, that's an even bigger one. But regardless, this feels like a game where the Jaguars are going to have to grind it out. And there's been some games this year, like the 49ers game, where they've been able to win playing that kind of offense, and even the Panthers game. But, games like last week against the Texans, where if you can just stick with the run and have the run kill clock and get first downs, you win. And when they needed to run the ball, they couldn't. That creates the question. The passing game is just in such a place, and there are so many injuries, that it's hard for me to talk about them going into any game, frankly, and say that the passing game is what they should lean on. They're a running offense. Travis Etienne. We did Jaguars superlatives for midseason at Jaguars on SI. I picked Travis Etienne as the MVP of the season so far. Now, in one way, it was kind of hard to pick an MVP. There's not really one singular player that stands out that's having, an elite season or anything like that. I picked Brendan Strange for Offense Player of the Year. I know he's missed pretty much half the season, but it's him and Etienne on offense, I think, who have gotten things done. Strange, went in the lineup and went healthy. Has obviously been fantastic. Hasn't had any miscues or anything like that. And I picked a Defensive Player of the Year. I picked Josh Hines-Allen. I know people don't want to hear it, but number 11 in pressures, number 6 in quick pressures, and number 1 in pressures that lead to a turnover. He is still one of the top pass rushers in the NFL on a down-to-down basis, but I understand the lack of sacks has everybody's emotions running hot, and I know how to read a room, so I'm not going to go out there and lecture anybody. I understand what fans are feeling right now, and unfortunately for Jaguars fans, they really could have used that win in Houston last week, because the more and more you kind of look at this game, the more you look at what the Chargers present, the less good you feel about it for the Jaguars. Thank you guys for listening to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. Be back next time.